So hi, One Good Noise Podcast. I'm Shane.
I'm Glory.
And we're here with
Nick, Ian,
George, Callum, and we're Bears in Trees.
And we're asking some questions to say about the upcoming EP, Every Moonbeam, Every Feverdream. So congrats on that, by the way. How do you feel about the response to the announcement so far?
The response to the announcement's been amazing. It's been quite fun because we've been a bit less forthcoming with the release this time. We slowly started performing the songs without telling anyone we were going to do it, and then just started going, we have a release this Friday, and everyone's like, oh my gosh. So it's been really nice to see how this
it's fun to just spring this announcement on people.
Yeah,
nice.
For sure. Yeah.
Well, the EP, listen to it this morning, is rocking.
Mm-hmm.
I'm digging it, and I say it when we talk about it on the podcast, but every single time we listen to a new release of yours, it's just, I'm shocked at how much the production has grown since the first time we spoke to you guys.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
It's honestly such a movement.
It's really funny. You get before people say, oh, your sound's changed a lot, and we're like, well, now we're doing what we wanted to do. We just couldn't do it before.
We sound like how we wanted to sound.
So is there any meaning behind the EP title or cover art?
So I think the EP title comes from a lyric in the song Doing This Again, which is just about really wanting to kind of stop and take in the quieter moments, like the walks home at night, the early mornings, just really kind of ground yourself in that piece. And I think the artwork is more symbolic of the EP as a whole, I think, of just the kind of fever dream aspect of it all.
We had a great designer, Jake, who we just sent various mood boards and random pictures and images, and we were like, these are all the things we like. Put some fish on there somewhere, and maybe a fence and a sign. And he was like, I got you. And then he produced that, and it was pretty much the second version we went with. It was almost bang on perfect.
We sent a cow in a windowsill at first.
Oh yeah. Oh,
yeah,
the tram and the tram. Yeah, it was just random stuff,
Right.
There's so much stuff there that I keep seeing new things that I've never seen before.
Yeah.
It's great.
I'm glad it all worked out real quick.
Yeah.
So can you guys tell us a little bit about your writing process for this EP?
So this EP we wrote, we went on a little trip to, I can't remember where it was, but it was south of England.
Sussex.
Yeah. And we just went to this one Airbnb because it had a hot tub, and we really wanted to do business in a hot tub. We just thought that'd be really so we went there with the express purpose of writing. I don't know if we knew it was going to be an EP or whether it was going to be a longer project or multiple things, but we just went and we're just kind of there to write, and it was no distractions, no, but also no pressure. It just felt like we were there just to escape from, remove ourselves from normal life and write. And it was a really interesting experience to write the initial songs. I think that it was all kind of determined by how we were set up. We had a really stripped down drum kit, an acoustic bass, an acoustic guitar, and a keyboard. And so a lot of it ended up quite keys heavy, with some really interesting kind of key riffs that we were really experimenting with. But also it was really heavily influenced by the fact that we watched the new film Tick, Tick, Boom. Well, it was new at the time. It's no longer.
Oh, yeah.
With Andrew Garfield. And it was we wanted to write something. I don't know if it was active or whatever, but we really wanted to write something that felt like a musical sequence, that felt like you're following people through an arc of a story. And I think that's exactly what we managed to do.
Oh, yeah.
So
definitely.
Since you guys kind of went in there with that idea to write this arc, follow through musical story, was the intention to have a certain amount of song EP, or was it just kind of this is what happened organically?
We wrote 7 songs originally, cut it down to 4, cut one very last minute, and then we wrote Kind Love, the first single, in about half an hour.
I forget that we wrote Kind Love separately.
Yeah, so there wasn't a set limit. I mean, 3 songs felt too short. We didn't want to just put 3 songs out, but it would have been past that as many as we felt kind of had a similar theme and certain purpose together.
And we'd released Precipitation earlier in the, or we hadn't released it at that point, but we were planning on releasing it. We'd already finished it, and it was kind of a question as to whether that went on the EP or not. And when we wrote this stuff, we were like, actually, it feels different to that, so it doesn't make sense for Precipitation to be on the EP. So it went its own single, and then we did the EP afterwards.
Fair enough. Okay.
Love that. So I want you four to tell us your favorite lyric off this EP and what it means to you.
Or part, if you don't know the lyric, that's fine too.
No, I was about to say something, but I have no idea.
Favorite part of the EP is easier for me than lyric, because the guitar solo in Feel So Empty, which isn't out at the moment right now, but will be out eventually. We never done like guitar solo things, like, or any kind of like, I don't know, traditional like rock band things. We've always just been a bit indie kids. And the producer we were working with, Alex, suggested a guitar solo earlier on in the song, and we kind of tried it out and it wasn't really working, and then we were fiddling around the song, and this moment came and we were like, yeah, let's do it. And suddenly we were like, yeah, this is the best thing ever. Guitar solos everywhere. Next album, all guitar solos.
No, not anything else. It's just
straight shredding.
Complete change. But yeah, that's my favorite like moment.
I've got favorite moment and lyric now.
I've
worked out. So favorite lyric is, I think I'm going to go pretty basic and say it's going to be the lyrics that is the title of the EP, but the whole bridge. Because to me it's interesting because it starts with, you know, every sunrise, every street sign, every goodbye, every moonbeam, every fever dream, and then it goes into almost, it was actually written the other way around, and then it goes into the next bit, which is don't you want to be happy, don't you want to go outside for a change, and I don't mean embody, I mean embody, and there's every sunrise. And I think for me, I really love that Nick wrote that, because it just really exemplifies this idea of like really breaking through the monotony of life, that kind of grey mist that you can find yourself in sometimes, and just really grounding yourself in the kind of mystical reality that you can find. And then favorite moment is in Simply Don't Believe It. There's this one lyric that goes, you can deliver results, and then there's a little falsetto harmony that Callum does, and every time I hear it I'm like
nice.
Exactly.
My favorite lyric, my favorite lyric / moment is in Feel So Empty, which is like an EP song, same one with a guitar solo, and it's the line, you said you're having one of those days where you wish you didn't have a body. Mm-hmm. So I just think that's such like an encapsulating line for like such like I don't know, like an entire mood, an entire era of something I think most people in our generation share. So I really love that.
Oh yeah.
I think my favorite moment as the drummer, I have to say the bit with the massive drum fill.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I don't often manage to get many in. And it was like all through like the writing bit, it was like, oh, there needs to be something here, and like we demoed it and it sounded a bit rubbish, and then we kind of got to the studio and I like put something in, and then we put all this effects around it and stuff, and it's just silly now. It's so
when we were in the studio, you did one, and then we were like, no, bigger.
Yeah.
And you did another one, we were like, no, bigger.
We have to give George more moments from now on. Drum solos every live set.
Yeah.
As soon as we're able to, we're gonna have one of those like floating drum rises, which just like flies through the stage and it's just, like upside down at some point. Like it's all about George.
When we get like a fighter jet, like
fire, planes, smoke and firework, everything.
Perfect. So where was your headspace at while you guys were working on the EP?
I think what was really interesting about this period of time is we wrote the EP, you know, as we wrote most of the things. We obviously did that retreat. But when we actually started fleshing the songs out, it was after we played our biggest headline UK tour of ever, where we played like 1,000 cap venue, which was the biggest one, and it was unreal. And it ultimately, like, when we were going through the process of doing that tour, and then we went to America and did like, albeit smaller shows, it was in the States, which was just equally incredible. The feeling of playing live was just so present in our minds that we were just like, every song we'd previously written, we worked out how we were going to make it bigger and huger and just more alive. And then we would listen back and we're like, wow, this doesn't sound like I want it to sound. So when we were recording or fleshing out and recording these songs, it was very much in the mind of, we want to play these songs live. We want to have them just danceable and jumpable and just energetic. And I think that's one of the key notes from the EP.
Nice. And you brought up the US tour, and I would just like to say real quick, I was there at Jersey, and I was just like, I was shocked. Like, I know you guys have fans and you guys have diehard fans, but I was shocked how many people were there, considering there weren't a lot of people in that venue. A lot of the people were there for you, and I was like, what the fuck? Like it all just kind of clicked for me in that moment. I was like, holy shit.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it was good fun.
I think Jersey was one of the smaller ones as well. Like you usually see it in Brooklyn. Like that was I was like blown away by the energy that was there.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Jersey that was tough for just friends too, because their van broke down that morning. So
Yeah.
it was tough getting to the show. So that was very much a show where we were all like, we're just gonna have fun, you know.
Yeah.
We're here for a good time.
absolutely.
Yeah. So how do you guys recommend your fans to listen to this EP for the first time? Should they play in the car with friends, dark with headphones on? Should they blast at a party, work out to it? What do you guys personally recommend?
Lovely idea of being like, all right, go for a run.
Yeah.
Road trip.
Yeah, I think road trip. Yeah, I like road trip. I love a car
just driving
journey.
along.
Yeah.
If it's quite short, a short road trip.
Yeah,
Like,
little bursts.
a 12, like what is it, like 12-minute road trip?
Down to the store and back.
Yeah, exactly. I think this is probably the first project we've done where it's not one where I would directly recommend just listening on your own. I think all the others I'm like, yeah, in the dark with headphones on, close your eyes. But this one is very much
It's far more energetic.
Yeah.
That's right.
Come to a show and hear it for the first time
At a show.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Where can they find the tour dates?
www.bearsintrees.com/live.
There we go.
There you go.
Good job. Good plug. So this question should be super, super quick off the top of your heads. I want you guys to describe this EP for new listeners in 3 words. No more, no less. All 4 of you have to do it. 3 words each.
Okay.
Jumping. Loud. Fun.
There you go.
Nice.
I was going to say like energetic. I'm going to count pop punk as 1 word. And scream.
Perfect.
I'm gonna go for energy, which is different from energetic. I was thinking before you said energy, live, and existentialism.
Okay.
Flipping funky fresh.
Oh,
Nice.
Oh,
All right.
That's good. That's good. So is there a certain feeling or emotion you want your listeners to have while going through this EP?
I can think of one.
Go on, yeah.
I think for me, the emotion is just like a feeling of, you know, when you're at a show and you just like nothing else matters and everything is just releases, like all of the tension of your day, all of the sadness, the anger, it all just kind of goes away and you're just there in the moment. I think that's what this EP sounds like to me.
To me, it's like a very warm, like comforting, like jumping.
Yeah, warm, comforting jumping.
Oh,
What a
bonus.
Nice. All right.
Warm, comforting jumping. You could use
Oh,
that.
that's my favorite.
Look at that. So what was your favorite memory that you guys made while creating this EP?
Oh, it's got to be
Hot tub.
It's got to be hot tub.
It's got to be hot tub.
We spent like 4 hours in there.
It was-
last night.
I think it's January in Sussex, which is cold. Like it was freezing. And there was this hot tub outside, and you used to have to like run from like the back door of this like Airbnb we were staying in around the corners to this hot tub where it was like the floor was like frosty in like a dressing gown, and you run, you got cold feet, you jump in, and suddenly your feet burn because it's the cold to the hot.
difference.
Just like a ridiculous weekend where it just like a bit like how you just described the EP, where like we went away and it was just as if we're here and nothing else really matters. We were just there. We went out to like a castle nearby at one point and we just did some sightseeing. We went to Tesco and bought like a shop for the weekend so we could just like make meals on our own, and we had like a roast and we made like pasta and stuff.
I think that's it. And then like we came after like being in the hot tub, we'd come back in and there was like a little fire and stuff. And I think that like warm, comforting kind of thing was just like that whole time.
I think another thing with the hot tub is because you're in the middle of you're in the middle of the countryside, right? So there's no light pollution at all.
Yeah.
And like we got all the lights off. We could there was a sensor light that we had to like really stay still for. But when it was, you could like see the full range of stars. It was like seeing the expanse of the universe. So it's like the combination of that comfort, of the warmth, of the coming into the fire, and also like seeing the universe above your head was just like, that was like a really important moment, I think, for me.
That's awesome.
Wow. That sounds really, really beautiful, actually.
It was, yeah.
So you guys recently announced a tour supporting water parks and Yumi at 6 for this upcoming spring. How did that opportunity come about, and what are you guys most excited for?
Yumi at 6 are very lovely and just asked us, which is very surreal. Because
They came to
Oh.
watch. They came to a show.
Came to our Brighton show, and they were the first band that Ian and I saw live when we were 14.
Oh, wow.
That was very much
Oh.
a moment. And yeah, we met them a few times now.
Yeah.
They're just really chill.
Yeah, they're just super lovely people
Yeah.
and just very supportive of us and what we do, which is just really lovely to to hear from a band which we've looked up to from like you said when we were like 14, which is really weird.
Yeah.
But super cool. And to play the shows, I don't think we're ready, and I'm not ready. And like Alexandra Palace in the UK, it's like 10,000 cap venue.
It's like one of the biggest you can play in London.
And like we saw Enter Shikari there recently, like loads of massive bands have played there, and it's just ridiculous to think that we're going to be 4 small boys on a stage.
And Waterparks was crazy as well. Like Waterparks came onto the tour slightly later than we did, effectively, and so like finally that was like such like a crazy moment.
We found out the day before.
Yeah, we were like we were trying to get on their tour, their actual tour, and we're like, oh, we didn't manage to do it. And then now we're touring with them anyway, so it's gonna be really cool.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
I saw that tour get announced. I was like, number one, wish that was in the US. Number two, to see Bears and Trees on the lineup with Yumi at 6, Water Parks in the main is like a surreal moment. I'm like, what the fuck? In arenas, I'm like, what the fuck? Like they were just like these TikTok boys a couple of years ago, and now they're playing fucking arenas. Like, what is happening here? So congrats to you guys.
Yes.
So picture this: you're on tour, you're at a gas station for a rest stop. What is your snack of choice?
Sheets and Wawas over in America. So, you know,
It was.
I like sheets
Because you prefer deep fried.
the deep fried like trio of
I had the deep fried Oreos or something.
deep fried Oreos.
Yeah.
And you pick like 3 deep fried things.
Yeah.
That's banging.
deep fried tater
Oh, wow.
tots. Yeah.
I like the sheets because you can make your own sandwich, but it really confused me, the system.
Yeah.
I think after a couple weeks of touring the US though, it was just an apple. Just eating a single apple was just
Yeah.
enough.
Yeah.
Of like gas station food really took its toll.
And then in the UK, I go to is like Greg's,
Greg's, definitely.
or like a meal deal.
Do you know what Greg's is?
No clue.
It's like a bakery. It's like a fast food bakery shop. So you get like vegan sausage rolls, lots of different like pastry options, like pies and stuff. It's really, it's just
Like comfort food.
Yes, comfort food.
And for all this
Okay.
time, I thought Greg's was a supermarket.
Yeah,
No.
right? I was always picturing like a Sam's Club.
Yeah, like
you
the
know?
last
No, it's
time.
they're all quite small.
really small. Yeah.
My
The
favorite
last-
restaurant.
The last UK band we spoke to also said Greg's, and I was like, they didn't like explain to us what it was. So I was like,
Yeah.
a supermarket? Like, what the fuck? Like, you guys just stop at supermarkets in the UK? Like, what the fuck?
So on the topic of food, if the band was a dish, what dish would the band be and why?
Oh, we'd be a vegetable pasta.
Yeah.
This band has a lot of dietary requirements for various reasons. So the main thing we can eat as a group is get some really nice pasta, make your own like tomato sauce with like tomato puree,
Roasted vegetables.
Like roasted veg and just chuck it all in a big pan.
Very hungry,
Lots
very
of
hearty.
cheese.
So great.
Yeah, banging.
Okay. That sounds
good.
very
Are you-
good.
Yeah, it's great.
So for the last couple questions, we're going to shift completely away from music. So if you guys weren't currently doing music right now, what jobs would you guys have?
That's a really interesting question.
I'd
It was
be
a
an
surprise. I
English
didn't know I was going to be asking it.
So yeah, Nick,
I'd be an English teacher probably.
I have before becoming a full-time musician, I was a therapist. Yeah, so
Oh.
probably that.
Yeah, I was a sound engineer before, which is quite handy.
Yeah.
And I would be teaching music and being a music therapist because that's what I did.
Wow.
All right.
I didn't expect any of those. Wow. Okay, cool. So if you could switch lives with any celebrity, who would it be and what would you do?
Oh, just that.
It's really
Trying to think of like what lane do you want to go down?
Yeah.
Like, film.
Well, my initial thing was just like Taylor Swift. How cool would it be to be Taylor Swift? But then I thought
Pretty
she does
cool.
quite a lot of work. She's constantly in the studio.
Yeah.
She's listening to so much music. Maybe I don't want that life. Maybe I pick someone like Paul McCartney, where you just like you got all the nice house and stuff, but you can just chill out.
worked out.
Yeah.
I would become the contemporary artist Damien Hirst, and then I would stop making art immediately. I have strong feelings about it.
Damn. Wow.
Damn. Let him out. Let him out
What
of
did
here.
Damien do to you, bro?
I hope that doesn't come back to bite me.
I mean, I'd say like someone in the royal family because they got it easy.
Yeah.
This guy is easy.
Oh, I really don't know. Like, I mean, I'd probably be like, I'd want to be like, okay, I know. So one of the members of Coldplay, who was in Chris Martin.
Yeah.
So like, you live like, you know, like you got it all, but no one knows who you are. So you just chill.
Oh my god. Wow.
We
You
have
just
that
named a guy.
I hope,
Yeah, right?
I hope we
That's
work.
not
I hope we have the opportunity to work with Coldplay, and Nick's a huge Coldplay fan. I'm like, we saw what you said. And you Damien Hirst there. And
Oh my god. Burning bridges. God damn.
yeah.
Did we all get Callum? Is yours Taylor Swift?
Oh, let's go Taylor Swift. Yeah,
Oh,
you
yeah,
get to work
true.
with Jack Antonoff. You're in the studio a lot. You've got
Oh, yeah, why
like,
wouldn't I
you've
pick
got
Jack
like
Antonoff?
2 or 3 cats. It's all good.
Justin Vernon. There are so many people I would rather be.
No, you got to stick to your mission.
yeah. I save the world.
Exactly.
So for this last question, boom, we're placing you guys in a horror movie. Who would die first?
Did you point at me?
Yeah, funny.
Yeah, fair
You're
enough.
quite
Ouch.
scrappy. I think you'd do something crazy. You'd risk it.
I
You'd
honestly,
risk it for a Twinkie.
I
like
would
a
die
zombie.
first, but it wouldn't be because of the horror movie reason.
No, yeah. Oh, actually, well, in that case, it might be Nick. And Nick's the most like
very
accident prone.
I'm very jumpy, yeah.
Like we'd be running away from a zombie, or like we'd just be like wandering around, and Nick would trip over something and fall and break his ankle, and he'd die. Like it'd be something like that.
You break his ankle and
Oh my
die.
There's no hospitals.
In horror movie world, yeah, you're right.
I think Callum would last the longest from pure luck.
Yeah, very true.
Good
What are
point.
you doing? In
Oh,
Join the horror
probably-
people.
John's-
I'd last a while. And I'd probably just, fall over and keel over and die. Probably. Not from like being eaten by a zombie. I'd just,
Not had enough
just fade out.
goats.
Yeah.
Give
fade
up.
away into the background.
For a moment, I thought you were going to say, like, I would just work out that I could just leave.
Wow. Okay.
You have
So as I said, that's all the questions we have today. Is there anything that you guys would like to plug?
Every Moonbeam Every Feverdream, the new EP by Bears and Trees, out November 11th.
And come see it in the USA if you live near or around some parts of the East Coast.
Northeast or Toronto.
In December.
All
It's
right.
gonna be amazing.
Well, thank you for now. This guy's been Bears and Trees, and we have been the Good Noise Podcast.